Hello, good evening, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca here in the heart of Salinas County, California. And we are here for none other than the final round, round 4 of the SMRC eSports Lockdown Cup. It's David Christie here alongside Duncan Vincent and Andy Elston, as always, in the virtual commentary booth. Very good evening, gentlemen. Duncan, Andy, can you believe it's the final week already?
Oh, well, no, Dave, it's come up very quickly on us. Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to our broadcast. Really looking forward to this. The final round is all to play for. It's very much in McFadden's hands right now as how we see it. But this is an old-style circuit. This is an old-school circuit. First built in 1957, as Dave says, in Salinas. Monterey, California. It's a beautiful place if you can get there. Andy Alston, the weather looks a little bit better than what we have at home.
Oh, absolutely. No signs of snow here for this one. It's a great venue to round up the championship here. I think this has been one that's had a little bit of everything in it, and it's an iconic venue here for Laguna Seca, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this battle plays out.
On screen there, we can see the weather, but we can also see the championship points at the side. Stuart McFadden with 249, Sandy Mitchell with 214, Jack Eyre with 184, Michael Weddle with 175, Peter Butcher with 162, and Jordan Gunkowski with 156. Remember, 35 points for a race win. A lot of points still up for grabs here tonight. And the cars, the Mazda MX-5s on the WeatherTech Raceway, formerly known as the Mazda Raceway as well. So we'll try not to trip up too much on that one tonight. But the cars are on track, as we can see just now. Qualifying is underway, and we will pick up with just a couple of minutes to go. But also, Andy Alston, you're going to give us a bit of a track guide, because this place is tricky. You've got to know how to get round at Laguna Seca, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. Here as we follow Sandy Mitchell, and this is classed as a second turn, a double apex. Andretti hairpin. Get the car over to the left-hand side into turn 3. Shouldn't have too many issues here, but just watch out for that red sausage curb on the inside. Let the car drag out wide on the outside here for turn 4. Again, it's a track just a little bit light off the throttle here. Shouldn't have too many problems. It's all about getting the car settled now as you make your way along the straight and into turn 5. This one, I feel, is one of the key ones on the track. Got to get your braking point absolutely spot on here. Get the car turned in nice and early, and then early on the throttle as well, because you want to take that power, take that momentum with you up the hill here as we go into turn 6. The apex is very, very late here. You'll use almost like the downhill momentum of the track to get the car hooked in up the hill here and into one of the most iconic corners in all of motorsport, the corkscrew. Very, very easy to get this one wrong. Sandy takes the car into the left here, hooks it in nicely to the right, and then we come into this long sweeping left-hander here, rainy curve, another spectacular corner here. Very easy to get the car dragged out wide, but you want to bring it across to the left-hand side as quick as you can. Easy to think it's all done here into turn 10. Get the car in nice and settled. Very short straight here before we get into turn 11, the last one on this lap. I think we'll see lots of overtaking opportunities going into this one during the races, gents. And then again, lots of pace and power down the back straight for one lap of the Laguna Seca circuit.
Fabulous stuff, Andy. Fabulous all the way around there with Sandy Mitchell. As we look at the qualifying times, we have got a 10-minute session, and we've just done 4 minutes of it just now. Stuart McFadden, championship leader, and currently sitting top of the times from Sandy Mitchell by 1/10 of a second. Kieran Smart showing very impressively so far in qualifying, ahead of Jordan Gunkowski. Now, if you remember last time out at Oran Park, the qualifying session, a lot of guys, they sacked it off towards the end, which was the most strangest thing I've ever seen. Normally, guys try and go right to the end as much as they possibly can. But yeah, it was quite a strange one. This time, I would imagine we're going to see as many people on the track as we can. But there are some people missing, because we do have some people missing through qualifying bans. And these bans were picked up because of, shall we say, misdemeanors, Andy, that were a previous round. Instance that they have maybe caused or created things that they really shouldn't have been doing. And I'm just trying to find the sheet, Andy. I don't know if you've got that next just now.
Yes, I do indeed.
Yeah,
so it's 6 drivers in total who will be excluded from qualifying, so they will be starting from the back of the pack. They are John Higgins, Rory Bryant, Ian Pittman, Tom Davis, Sam Spinell and John Proctor. All 6 drivers will not be able to participate in the qualifying session here tonight.
I had my sheet next to me right when you, but you know, we're prepared here, guys. We're prepared. We're professional, you know. It's the last round. We're already in holiday mode. If they go into track, though, it's an instant disqualification. So Will that hurt them? Yes, it will in qualifying because they will be at the back of the grid, but I'm pretty sure they will know the circuit. They'll have been putting in quite a lot of laps during the week to try and make sure they know where they're going. But this is the man who is the man of the moment. In fact, he's not just the man of the moment, he has been the man of the series. He's put together a stellar performance, a good set of runs from Stuart McFadden, and it was great to hear him after the last the last Oran Park event, when he told us just how he's going to try and approach this. From memory, I should say, I believe he said to us he's not going to worry too much about the championship in the early parts of this event. I'm pretty sure right now, though, no matter what you say as a racing driver, his head will still be thinking about the championship. Sandy Mitchell has just gone fastest, 900th of a second ahead. And that's how close we really have seen things all year between these two. And not just these two, Andy. It's been Jack Hare, it's been Jordan Gronkowski, it's been Michael Weddle, and even Rory Bryant has been in there. But Rory Bryant's one of the guys that we're missing from this qualifying session.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been lots of pace throughout the pack here, but I dare say the frustrating thing for the drivers, though, is if they get things wrong in qualifying here, it has massive ramifications for all three races, because they've got to work their way through the field in race one. Wherever they finish in the opener is where they start the grid in race two. So already, if you get things wrong in qualifying, you're giving yourself a massive uphill battle to climb for this event.
It is a circuit which can promote more overtaking opportunities than Oran Park. It's a little bit wider for a start, and there are more corners you can do it in. Turn number one, where McFadden's coming over the crest of the hill just now. Now, that runoff there on your right-hand side has been taken back massively about 15 years ago. It used to be very close, and it was a cliff face. So they've extended that quite a lot. Double apex corner, as Andy Allison said to us, that overtaking into the Andretti hairpin, it is doable, but it's a downhill corner, so it does tend to drag you in. As you come through these next two couple of corners, not really the best of overtaking places. More easy to make a mistake and run wide, but if you do run wide, it's not that bad a thing to do. There are no tyre walls. It's just kind of dusty gravel. So you can keep the momentum going. Into here, up the inside, yeah, good. The corner comes back towards you. It's a positive camber there. The car doesn't want to run too wide, and it's almost got it's uphill, positive camber. Great corner. You can really dig the front wheels in there. Then on, Andy, you can't really overtake into the corkscrew, can you? Is that an overtaking place if you get a run through there and up the Rahal Straight?
I think we'll see a few try it tonight, and it'll be great to watch. Yeah, it's a very, very tricky corner, this one, I have to say. The good thing about this track, though, overall, is the curbs are quite shallow, so you can take a lot of curb on entry. We saw Stuart McFadden do that as he made his way around the track. What that does is widens the corner and lets you just take a little bit more speed into it as well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how drivers approach this one, that's for sure.
Delighted to see that we don't have any tyre stacks on any apex corners, which is always a good thing in my eyes. Oulton Park harks back in old memory, that, and there was quite a few guys clipping tyres on apexes. But we watched our man McFadden go around there. You'll pick up with 101 Scott Smart. Scott Smart, no, we don't. I knew I was going to say that. Scott Smith, who likes to be called the Not Kill Garage Mechanic, so we're going to go with that. He's going through Rainy Curve there. Now, that is an overtaking opportunity. There's a couple of lines going into that corner. You can do what Stuart McFadden did and take the wide line and swing back to the apex, or you can cut it a lot shallower from the corkscrew and head towards the apex. So it does promote you to have a go, this circuit. It does, especially that last corner. If there's 3 or 4 cars all heading towards that last corner, which is almost a hairpin, it's a little bit more than 90 degrees to the left. If you're the guy in front, you're going to have to cover that inside line, because somebody will be definitely trying to put an MX-5 bumper underneath your bumper and give you a little bump and run. It's America. Rubbins Racing, apparently. Did anybody watch the NASCAR last night? Oof, should we not talk about that, Dave?
It was a bit good, that last lap little incident, though. It's I've got a feeling that it's going to be like that times 100 tonight.
Well, we have less than 10 seconds to go in qualifying now, and it looks like Stuart McFadden will be taking pole position from this one, from Sandy Mitchell and Jack Hare with Jordan Gronkowski. Peter Butcher really has put together a great second half of the season. We need to give him a good bit of kudos. That is qualifying done, and this will be our grid. McFadden on pole from Mitchell, the two championship leaders at the front, with Jack Hare and Jordan Gronkowski, row number 2. Peter Butcher and Michael Weddle make up row number 3, with Kieran Smart and Nathan Lamont, row number 4. Row number 5 is Gary Brown and Cameron Evans, and Adam Kyness and Scott Smith at 11th and 12th.
Then they're followed by Scott Hunter and Michael McPherson. Dale Smith, Robert McGregor, Vic Covey in 17th, Tom Jones in 18th, Ian Pashley, Sean Doby, Stuart Wyness in 21st, Mark Cuthbert in 22nd, and it's Martin Buck in P23 and Cameron Ritchie in 24th place.
I think we can firmly say, guys, hold on to your hats. This is going to be 3 fabulous races. Firecrackers, call them what you like. The championship on your right-hand side, McFadden and Mitchell. Not only the 1-2, they're also on the grid like that as well, with Jack Eyre in 3rd place in championship, just ready to try and sneak a handful of points here. He needs a lot of points, actually. John Gronkowski, well, he means business, doesn't he? He's not had the best mid part of the season. So many things can go wrong in these events. So many things can also go right. Remember, this is a Knockhill Driver of the Day award as well. If you're on the live chat, drop us a note so we can see who you think. And it'll be brought to you as well. The replays by Sim Dynamics. Here we go. The red light's coming on. We've got 4 full complement of lights at the WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway, and away we go. And it looks like McFadden has a fabulous start as he climbs the hill, up the crest of the hill. And then before you know it, you're over the crest hill and down you go. And there's a pile up at the back there. Somebody's lost a wheel. There's cars everywhere. They've got less than 10 yards past the line. And that happened. Robert McGregor being one of the cars in there. I saw Scott Smith involved also. Michael Weddle gets pushed a little bit wide going through the turn 1, and there's more contact further back. Weddle gets taken out again, and that is Cameron Evans in there as well. He wasn't involved in the crash, but Gary Brown certainly was. And McFadden leads at the front from Jack Eyre and Sandy Mitchell, but Andy, that got very ugly very quickly.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's happened there at all, Duncan. I think maybe just a couple of cars have got very lively off the start, and yeah, they barely made it under the bridge, and we had all sorts of drama there. I just hope we don't see any more of that tonight, because that was quite a number of cars that have been taken out throughout there. We've got 5 cars in the pits already and out of this race by the looks of it. Some cars, Nathan Lamon's dropped 18 places, Adam Kindness down 14, Scott Hunter down 15 as well. A number of them really been caught out here, and it just looks like one car hasn't got away at all, actually. John Proctor then not already.
Yeah, but it happened further up the road from John Proctor, unfortunately. It was round about the Scott Smith area. Too difficult to tell from that replay, but yeah, we definitely did see John Proctor not moving off the line. Gary Brown then got involved in the secondary impact. Jonathan Glover involved in this here. What happens now? Is that Aidan Wilson? Is that his car? Well, that's his car going round there. That was Dale Smith involved in that, but from our vantage point, too ugly to tell. McFadden leads over the line, though, as we go past a stricken car at the side of the track, and it's Jack Eyre in 2nd place. Sandy Mitchell as they come down towards Andretti Hairpin. Look at them using as much road as they possibly can on the entrance to that, and Andy picked up on that. It promotes you to use that road because it's there, it's flat, it doesn't upset the car, and effectively you're making the track wider on your corner entry, so it does help you. At the front, the gap, 0.3 of a second. Jack Eyre sitting in nice and happy in that 2nd place just now. Sandy Mitchell will already, I would imagine, Andy, be starting to feel a little bit edgy that McFadden is in the lead and he's got a nice enough gap now. Sandy Mitchell jumped down the score sheets a little bit there, but obviously that looked like a technical glitch. We can still see the Blackpool sponsored car firmly on our screens.
Yeah, absolutely. The trouble is Jack Eyre in front of him, a very, very quick driver, and Jack's not going to give up that place easy. If anything, he's going to try and make his way into 1st place in this race. So Sandy's got his work cut out here, but again, there's only 2 and a bit minutes going in this session, so lots of racing still to play. And I think Sandy's just, if he's just patient, I think the race will come to him, and then he'll have an opportunity to make up some places.
Through the corkscrew down towards Rainey Curve, named after the legendary motorcycle racer Wayne Rainey, who was God on a 500cc Marlboro Yamaha back in the day. They come down through the bottom of turn 10, heading towards turn number 11. Mitchell's looking up the inside of Jack Eyre here. He is thinking about it. Jack's left on room. Sandy goes up the inside. Jack has that thing dancing about on the brakes at the back there. But it wasn't to be for Sandy Mitchell as they go up the main straight. He now has the undercut on the inside as they climb the hill past the pits. Now, it's anything but a straight. You come through a big long left over the crest of a hill, and it's completely blind until you hit the brakes for the Andretti Hairpin mirror signal manoeuvre. Sandy Mitchell takes that place. Jack Eyre thinks about trying to cut underneath for the second apex, but is unable to do that. Jordan Gronkowski and Peter Butcher still hanging in a very respectable 5th place ahead of Michael Weddle. How did Michael Weddle get into 6th place after we saw him all over the place getting, I've got to say, bullied at the first corner. He did get bullied, didn't he, Andy?
Yeah, it was certainly in amongst lots of the drama, that's for sure. But he's managed to at least he's still in that kind of front pack there. He's got Michael McPherson, Cameron Evans, Tom Jones just a good bit down the road, so that gives him a bit of breathing space to focus on P5 and Peter Butcher and try and make his way past.
Up they come towards turn 6. Further back down though, we pick up with Igor, and Igor is very much in a battle with Dave Noonan. Robert McGregor, who we saw facing the wrong way further up the road as well, and a few cars jumping about there. But this is a great little battle. This is they all come in towards the tight turn 6. Then you climb the hill up to, or turn 5, sorry, before you climb the hill up towards turn 6 underneath the bridge, and then they climb up towards the all-important corkscrew underneath the Rahal Street. Somebody going a little bit wayward there. Nathan Lamond, what does he do here? A little bit wide, couple of wheels into the gravel, comes back on in front of everybody. I like that. There was a face full of dust in front of everybody. Not what you want to be having, but a few cars sporting, by now, Andy, a few battle scars as we are at the top of the corkscrew. It's so steep, it's unbelievable. It really is. When you stand at the bottom of it, it's like the Eau Rouge thing. The camera makes it look a lot flatter. But trust me, ladies and gentlemen, the corkscrew, it's very intimidating when you're there. McFadden leads, though. He's now built that up to a second as they get Sandy Mitchell, and he's still got Jackie right behind him. But it's looking pretty good for Stuart McFadden right now as he makes his way through the inside 3 and 4.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not put a foot wrong here as Stuart McFadden. It's been nice and clean throughout, and that's what we've come to expect from Stuart. He's been very, very consistent throughout this championship. 3 wins under his belt, a second, a third place in there as well. So he's been a good addition to this one. Pure Sims driver as well, of course. He's part of a serious squad of esports drivers, and he's proven it with some strong performances throughout.
And that Pure Sims, Ash Sutton, very much the man behind that, isn't he? I saw a picture of him on his social media during the week as somebody kicks it just in the background, just coming out of turn 6 there. I did see Ash Sutton wearing a Pure Sims hoodie, as I think he picked up some award for being the fans' favourite race driver, I believe. I did do a bit of speed reading on that, Andy, so you'll have to forgive me. I was thumbing through things on social media as you do very quickly. But back to the more important thing just now. It's McFadden, Mitchell and Ayre. Gronkowski, Butcher, Weddle, McPherson, Evans, Tom Jones and Kieran Smart running out the top 10. Vic Covey just off the back of that in 11th with Gary Brown, Dale Smith, Cameron Ritchie, who is a little bit out of position there. And is that Adam Kindness going very slow on the straight up over the crest of the hill as the two leaders go past him? It is. Adam Kindness obviously has had some sort of issue. He's down a lap and he's staying well out of the way. A good bit of sportsman driving there from Adam Kindness, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. He's realised he's got the leaders in his rear view mirror, so he's not made a nuisance of himself at all. Nice and tight into the wall, and he's let them all come through. That means with halfway gone in this race, we've still got Stuart McFadden in lead, but Sandy Mitchell now, look at that gap, just half a second between these two title protagonists.
Yeah, Mitchell has definitely dropped Jack Ayre, and he has got...
And apologies about that. We appear to have lost both Duncan and Andy in the room there.
And
so there we go. Sorry about that, Dunk. We lost you for just a second there, buddy.
Sorry about that, Dave. Yes, Andy Mitchell's got to be squeaky clean during this race. He really must be. He's got to get this one. He's got to get this one home at the front. He needs to beat Stuart McFadden in as many races as he can. And I'm just about coming into the last corner just now. I was just saying there, I think when you lost me, that Jack Ayre has very much got Jordan Gronkowski for a bit of company.
Yeah, he certainly does. Jordan's just gradually reeling him in here. He does have Peter Butcher and Michael Weddle to contend with as well. So Jordan's got to pick his moment too when he decides to make a move. Last time out for him, a 1:38.5. So that is just it's a couple of tenths slower than Peter Butcher in 5th place last time round. But yeah, Jordan's a driver who we know the pace that he has, but he had 2 P3 finishes last time round at Oran Park, but in a couple of races throughout where he's unfortunately been tagged, and it's compromised his races, so he'll be keen to end his season on a high with some strong performances throughout here tonight.
Okay, Sandy Mitchell, Black Bull sponsored number 78. It's now or never for you, young man. You need to make the move as quickly as you can on Stuart McFadden and try and show him who is boss. One thing we will know, if Mitchell puts his nose in a place where McFadden isn't wanting it, we won't see Stuart McFadden turning over the nose of him. We'll see Stuart McFadden suddenly become very aware that he is the man who has got a championship in his grasp, and Mitchell is the man who needs that position, and he will be out for blood as they come over the crest of the corkscrew. Look at the cars change direction and they plummet down there. It's downhill all the way here, all the way down through Rainy Curve. A really lovely corner here before you come out of Rainy Curve and you head for turn 10. A bit of apex curb to be used on the inside of turn 10, but not too much of the sausage curb. It'll bounce you wide. You can sneak a little bit of pit entrance here as you come into 11 if you need to. But we've got to see the gap now, 0.4 of a second. Sandy Mitchell, that gap was at 1 second on the nose, and it's now down to 0.4. Obviously, it accelerates a little bit out here as they come past the tented village in the pit lane. But over the crest of the hill, McFadden and Mitchell, you can see the updated championship standings on the right of the screen just now. As it stands, 2.84 to McFadden and 2.44 to Sandy Mitchell. Jack Hare 2.10. And Jack Hare is definitely not out of this. He has pulled away from Jordan Gronkowski now, Andy, and he's starting to apply a little bit of pressure back onto Sandy Mitchell.
Yeah, he definitely is. And if Sandy decides to make a move here on Stuart, Jack's there, he's waiting in the wings, and he could well benefit from that as well. So Jack's just looks like he's biding his time now. He's going to let Stuart and Sandy get into a little bit of a scrap. The interesting one for me is, where will Sandy try and make a move on this lap? We saw him do it into the Andretti hairpin. Will he try and do the same again, or will he look for another opportunity to overtake around this lap?
Yeah, he did. He finished the move at the Andretti hairpin, but ultimately almost started it going into turn 11, the last corner. He was trying to set things up with Jack here, so it's maybe one of these things, Andy, where you need to work at it. It's a couple of corners to actually accomplish the manoeuvre, but let's see. We know these guys are extremely professional at what they do, treat this very seriously, and the talent at the sharp end here is astounding. It really is. So when they come towards turn 11, on the bumper cam of Sandy Mitchell, looking at the pure Sims 53 car of Stuart McFadden. Sorry, I was getting a little bit nervous here as Mitchell really closed up in the brakes, and he's managed to keep that speed through the heart of the corner. And is this a run for Sandy Mitchell in the slipstream over the crest of the hill? Will he pop up towards the inside? McFadden will be aware of what's happening here. McFadden does position himself and defends in towards the corner. Good move. Will he run wide? Will Mitchell cut back? No. Good bit of driving, defensive driving, and a good head on very young shoulders for Stuart McFadden there. And the same has to be said about the disappearing Sandy Mitchell, who will be back the next time we pick up that screen.
Yeah, certainly a good bit of defensive driving from Stuart McFadden. He decided to cover the inside line nice and early, but then he just kept the car nice and tight on that double apex as well. So that did not allow Sandy the opportunity to try and get a run into turn 3. But this battle is not done yet, with a little over 2 and a bit minutes left in this race.
I've got to say, Sandy Mitchell did show his hand there as Stuart McFadden, but McFadden, well, there was me saying that he won't really put up too much of a fight. He put himself in a defensive place. Now, if that had gone wrong, Mitchell could have tagged the back of him, and it could have been a whole different story as they go under the Bubba Burger Bridge. I do like that. That's a great sponsor. Top of the corkscrew. Jack Hare's wanting involved in this now as well, isn't he? Left, right, downhill. Back out to the right-hand side under the WeatherTech bridge, then back into the heart of the Rainy corner. See the different lines from Mitchell and from McFadden. Jack Hare doing the same line as Stuart McFadden through there, and bouncing over the apex curb there as Dave picks up some cracking camera angles. Jordan Gronkowski hasn't got the pace just now. He is in a different battle all on his own there, as once again Mitchell is quick through that last corner, and he's starting to pick up a little bit of a toe as they come up past the pit straight, and then they go into the big long over the crest hill before they go down to turn 1. Will they have a shot up the inside? McFadden goes wide. Mitchell thinks about it, but no. McFadden turns in quite early there. Turns in early. He was quite defensive. Mitchell right up towards the back of him and tries to get a good exit. He's putting Stuart McFadden under all sorts of pressure. He's asking all sorts of questions of Stuart McFadden here. And McFadden is answering everything that Mitchell is throwing at him just now as they go through the heart of turn 4 before the short shoot down to 5, Andy.
Yeah, I just wonder if Stuart thought he initially had that one covered, then he saw Sandy commit to the inside and felt that he had to take corrective action. I did wonder, it was interesting to see him hang that car out so wide on entry, and then it was a very, very sudden dart across into hit the apex as we saw John Higgins there just out the corkscrew, got the car wrong, hit the barrier for good measure, and he's managed to keep it facing the right way, but almost come into contact there with the red car on the outside. But yeah, it's all gone wrong for him at the corkscrew.
What has happened to that colour scheme as Michael Weddle has a big wobble there? That was John Higgins Jr. Yeah, that's a different colour scheme as we pick up now. It's not the lovely green one which we saw. He's kind of gone a little bit like Aidan Wilson there, and not too fond of that. But I do believe he might be losing that drive to his faster father. So watch out here. I'm not going to call him senior. It'll just be John Higgins coming back into that car, and Junior will be sidelined pretty soon as they come in towards the last corner. Mitchell right under, he taps it back as Stuart McFadden round he goes. McFadden half spins at Mitchell, also loses the position, and that leads Jack Ayre through into the lead. Jordan Gronkowski picks up second place. McFadden slots himself into third, and Sandy Mitchell back into fourth. Sandy won't be happy about what happened there. And did he actually stand on the brakes to let McFadden go again, or what happened as Peter Butcher's all over the back of him into turn one? Now Dave Christie will be hunting for a replay of that one. It was plain to see from what we saw the coming through, Andy, as they come through the corner before it turned 10. It was the next corner. There was just the faintest of taps on the back when the car is all weighted up on the front on the brakes. The back of the car is as light as it could possibly be. This might take us a while. There we go. Speed up a little bit now. Big bit of braking, and in comes Sandy Mitchell here. You just see him tap the back as McFadden turns in. That's it. The weight's off the back of the car, and round it goes. Didn't look like a huge hit, but then Andy, did Sandy decide, or did he see the car rolling back in front of him and kind of panic a little bit there? Either way, bit of a disaster.
Yeah, I think he's assumed that Stuart McFadden is Stuart McFadden. He's had another incident there, and that looks like it's into turn 5, and now we're into turn 6, and he's dropped all the way down to 6th place. There's another car slow behind as well. It's not been a good lap at all for Stuart McFadden, and that will have massive ramifications in this championship fight.
Now, what did he do here? He turned in. Oh, he turned in, and there was another car on the apex of the corner. Now, where did that come from? It just seemed to appear. Dave, what car was that? I'm pretty sure we'll find out. But watch this. As he turns in, that car on the inside is 445, I think.
John Proctor.
And John Proctor just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Stuart McFadden unable to avoid him, puts him down to 6th place. So as we now get the checkered flag, all the action happened right at the very end. There is Jack Ayre who wins race number 1 from Jordan Gronkowski, and Sandy Mitchell manages to scrape a podium, much to the steward's room, possibly for Stuart McFadden. Who knows with that one? Michael Weddle comes home in 4th, Peter Butcher 5th, Stuart McFadden luckless down in 6th place. Michael McPherson in 7th place, who we didn't mention at all in that race until the final standings. Cameron Evans, Vic Covey, and Gary Brown. Well, it all happened so much towards the end there, Andy Alston, that ultimately we missed the checkered flag because of that.
And it has blown this championship fight wide open now. Jack Ayre was in 3rd place in the standings going into this one, but he's collected all 35 points here in the opener. And with Jordan Gronkowski taking 2nd place as well, this is going to be a very, very interesting race 2 ahead of us. Pure drama throughout in the opener, and if that was anything to go by, we're in for another couple of interesting scraps here tonight.
I think what you need to do is have a little think about who your knock-kill driver of could be, and we'll find out. If you're in the live chat, why not drop them in? Dave Christie's keeping a good eye on all things livey chatty. And,
it's a bit difficult to say because John Higgins is obviously very, very upset that his race was completely ruined in his eyes. What I find interesting as well, actually, brought a good point, and I don't know if you guys noticed it. Looks like there was a couple of cars missing the start. Like, their cars were on the grid, but they didn't actually go anywhere. So that was further on behind. But obviously that didn't really have too much of an impact on the incident that happened further up the field, where I think it was just a couple of cars had got into each other.
Yeah, I did see John Proctor not getting going, but he was right at the very back. So let's bring you the grid for race number 2, the Sim Dynamics grid, with Jack Ayre on pole with Jordan Gronkowski, Sandy Mitchell and Michael Weddle on row 2, with Peter Butcher and Stuart McFadden on row 3. Michael McPherson and Cameron Evans alongside Vic Covey and Gary Brown. And we've got Del Smith in 11th with Cameron Ritchie in 12th.
So, gentlemen, that does blow the championship wide open. As Andy said there, Stu McFadden now, the gap is just 29 points. Let's get ready then for race number 2. Dunk, back to you.
We have got a full complement of lights here. Let's see who gets to start. And once again, it's a cracking start from Mitchell. Gronkowski not so. And he's going to lose that position before they go over the crest of the hill. But Jack Eyre will lead down towards Andretti Hairpin for the first time of Askin. Great view this from the blimp, the Goodyear blimp. If only it was. Round the outside, Sandy Mitchell goes on Jack Eyre. But Jack Eyre will take that back in the second apex off the corner. It's Jordan Gronkowski. And I think Stuart McFadden also running very wide through turn number 2 there. McFadden back on and in all sorts of trouble with Vic Covey over the back of him now. Covey's got an overlap as they go in towards turn 4, but Covey decides not to press too much because he knows what's at stake here. Cameron Evans a little bit wide and wayward as they go through turn 4 and down towards turn 5. Andy Alston, a decent start, thankfully. No carnage off the start this time.
Yeah, it looks like it's been a clean one so far on the opening lap here. Stuart McFadden down to 7th place. But he's got to really keep his cool now, because if he lets the occasion get the better of him here, he could tumble even further down the pack here. There's another 15 minutes left in this race, and as soon as I said that, we do have more drama. John Duncan, I believe, they're involved as well. Sean Dobie facing the wrong way. A number of cars compromised, but it looks like the rest of the field have managed to take evasive action. That is, I dare say, the benefit of this Laguna Seca circuit. It's just like a sandy runoff area. Car 27, Rory Bryant facing the wrong way and into the barrier as well. Pure drama, as always in this iRacing Championship.
And they're still crashing at the top of the corkscrew. Now, that is the longest accident I've ever seen from turn 6 through 7 and in towards 8. Thankfully, nobody hurt, and all the cars managing to get going again. Scott Smith involved in that again, and I believe a lot of these things are just a couple of cars bouncing off one another and then spearing off the road. But Rory Bryant will be none too pleased as he comes up behind Dave Noonan, who's got all sorts of front-end damage on that car. Let's pick up the replay here. It went just... I don't know where to look. I really just don't know where to look for that one. It looks like something at the Dukes of Hazzard as they all go underneath the WeatherTech bridge from the corkscrew. What we can tell you, though, back at the front is still Jack Eyre with a 1.3 second lead now over Sandy Mitchell and Michael Weddle, with Peter Butcher in 4th place. What has Mitchell got in the locker? What has the factory Lamborghini driver got in store here for Jack Eyre? There was a lot of chat midweek on the Discord about Jack Eyre's setup costing more than people's cars, and Jack Eyre actually come on and said it costs more than my own road car, so there you go. But these guys are always chatting away about what pedal setup's best, what steering wheel is best, but right now Jack Eyre won't be chatting to any of them. He'll be pulling away at the front, a 1.2 second lead from Mitchell. Weddle could be the danger man here, because Michael had a fabulous Oran Park, and when he gets going, he really does get going. But as of yet, Andy, he hasn't got going.
No, a very, very quick driver is Michael. 2 wins and a 2nd place last time out at Oran Park. 3rd place at the moment here. He's up 1 place so far. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he approaches this race. I think he could, if he's sitting at the moment there in a podium position, I think he'll be quite happy with that. He might. He's dropped to 4th as soon as I say that, and it looks like he's gone wide as well into turn 11, and he's dropped down a number of places now. 7th place, I think he's just got it all wrong under braking, and that has allowed Peter Butcher to take the final step on the podium as things stand.
Michael Weddle still hasn't got things going. Then it would appear as Cameron Evans decides that those floppy markers didn't need to be there, so he removed them at great speed. But what that has done is let Stuart McFadden get up to 4th place with the departing exit stage right of Michael Weddle at the last corner. McFadden, well, he's in the perfect place just now. He doesn't really need to do too much more, or does he? Let's think about that championship. We'll get the championship points in just a minute if we can. But Jack Eyre, Sandy Mitchell, Peter Butcher and Stuart McFadden, your top 4, with Jordan just in 5th place. What Stuart McFadden must not do is make another mistake. He was luckless in that race number 1 when John Proctor was on the apex of the corner. Or was that race number 2? Remind me, Andy. There's that much happening in this. It's happening all so quickly.
And it just goes to show how quickly things can change in this championship. Stuart McFadden, fantastic race in the opener, and then the first lap in race 2, things just all completely fall away from him. But he has had a good recovery here over the last couple of laps, back up 2 places and into 4th place. With Peter Butcher in front of him at the moment, if he can get past him over the next couple of laps, then who knows, he might even be able to close the gap on the 2 in front. But I think if he ends up, even I think if 4th, he would be quite happy. But if he can get that podium place, I think he will be more than satisfied with how this race has gone.
Yeah, the points on the screen, that was the start of race number 2 with Stuart McFadden 269, Sandy Mitchell 240 and Jack Ayre 219. That's your top 3. Michael Weddle, I think we can discount Michael out of this just now, and Jordan and Peter. Peter Butcher having, I'm still saying, a fabulous second half to the season. He really is driving well. But I do think Stuart McFadden will have the pace to get past him. Fastest lap of the race last time round was Jack Ayre, and that was a 1:38 something blurry. Remember, vote for your virtual driver of the day, the Knockhill virtual driver of the day. Get in that live chat and you get telling Dave Christie exactly who you think is the man just now. But Jack Ayre, he's lost 0.2 of a second to Sandy Mitchell on this lap. So, and that's it. You know, there's never a huge chunk taken out of somebody, Andy, unless they make a mistake. When these guys are driving at their best, it's 1/10 of a second. 1/10 of a second here, 1/10 of a second there.
Yeah, I think maybe Sandy's just dropped a couple of wheels coming out one of the corners. Last time out, Jack Ayre, as you say, fastest lap of the race, a 1:38.1. Sandy Mitchell last time round, a 1:38. What was that, 1:38.8, I believe. So he's something's gone wrong there. He has managed to close the gap a little bit though, as we approach the midway phase of this race. Jack Ayre, of course, a VR driver. He uses the headset to see him round the lap. The corkscrew must be very, very interesting in VR, I have to say. As they make their way around the rainy curve and towards the last couple of corners of this lap. Sandy's gradually reeling in Jack Ayre, but yeah, it looks like Jack's going to live to fight another day. A good gap here as they make their way into the final corner of the lap.
Yeah, half a second the gap now. It's gone from 1.2 down to a second now, 4/10 as they leave that last corner. Sandy means business here, but Jack Ayre is by no means a mug. He will fight this to the very end, and he can lap just as fast as Sandy Mitchell. A 1:38 flat for Sandy Mitchell, fastest lap of the race on the last lap. So Mitchell is a-coming. Stuart McFadden has slithered past Peter Butcher, as we can see on the timing screens there on the left-hand side. Peter Butcher still hanging in very much behind him, and Jordan Gronkowski, we just caught the red car flashing through in the background, but through the heart of the infield section of Laguna Seca. 3 in the background. This is turn 4 they're going through now. Very flat corner, leads you in a little bit too quickly, and you've got to watch your exit as you come down towards turn 5. Little dog leg in the middle of it before this lovely turn 5 here. There's a camber on it. You can drive the car in there and you can use the curb on the exit as those two guys are doing. There's not a lot left there as they come up towards turn 6. Beautiful corner, dips in the middle, bang, you see the car compress on the bottom of the bumps there, and then up the Rahal straight towards turn 7 at the top, then the corkscrew. And somebody moving out, I was just about to say, Andy, they're catching somebody, a back marker, and the back marker, they've done a good job of getting off the track there, didn't they?
Oh, they certainly did, and they were more than generous with the space that they left the leaders there. Jack Ayre and Sandy Mitchell will be happy with that, but look at the gap now down to 0.3 of a second. Again, that gap is narrowing as we come to the last couple of the corners, and this is Sandy Mitchell perhaps setting the stage for another one of those overtaking opportunities into the Andretti hairpin. Can he make the move on Jack Ayre? Maybe a little bit too far out this time round. He has got a good run on the exit there, taking a little bit of the curb and then some. Look at that defensive line though that Jack Ayre is taking, already committing to the inside. That's going to give Sandy Mitchell a good bit of work to do as they make their way into the hairpin.
Yeah, Mitchell looking up the inside. Nope, Jack Ayre has that covered. It's quite a quick entrance into turn 2. And then you've got the second part of it just there. Now this turn 3 is an overtaking place if you want to have a look up the inside. But the braking distances are pretty short on these little Mazda MX-5s. And Sandy Mitchell doesn't want to rough Jack Ayre up just too much. He's already possibly driving under a little bit of a cloud from that tiny bit of contact with Stuart McFadden in race number 1 at turn 11. And will that be playing on his mind right now? No. He'll have completely put that in a different place just now, and he's focusing on the job in hand. He is a professional race driver, as Jack Eyre is a pro sim driver when it comes to this. These guys flirting with the edge of the curb and the dust there as they come up the straight. Jordan Gronkowski ahead of Peter Butcher in the background there. Was that an overtake that happened going in towards turn 5? Or did that happen earlier on? Remember, here are your points just now as we set 295 for McFadden, 270 for Mitchell, 254 for Jack Eyre. These are live scores that we are giving you just now on the road standings. Produced and put together by David Christie, who must be pretty quick on a calculator. I've got to see that as he comes through the rainy corner. I believe turn 11 is going to see some action. Mitchell sets it up going through turn 10. He is right underneath the back of Jack Eyre. Jack takes a big jump off the sausage curb. Is that going to affect him? Mitchell goes down the inside alongside, but no, Jack Eyre cuts across Andy. And I did think, though, that big bounce off the sausage curb at turn 10, it could have been Mitchell's opportunity.
Yeah, I did expect Sandy to throw the car up the inside there, but he thought better of it in the end. And I was just wondering, when Sandy's behind there, he was very, very lively over that last couple of corners. And maybe Jack's been looking into the rearview mirror and it's unsettled him. And that's when Sandy's maybe had that opportunity to make a move. But with a little over 5 minutes left in this race, and a gap of 25 points between them as things stand, Sandy Mitchell really does have to win this race to be in with a chance of winning this championship.
A little bit of TV time for Scott Smith, car number 101, who is 14th place just now, a 140.4 his last lap time round. And it all went a bit wrong for him on the race number 1 start, as it went wrong for almost all of the mid-pack by the time they crossed the actual start line, unfortunately. And Scott right now is behind Martin Buchan, who is jumping over every apex curb and sausage curb that he can get his little MX-5 over. And they come down towards turn 5. A good little battle this with Buchan, Cameron Ritchie and McGregor. McGregor, the 117 at the front of it. Cameron Ritchie in the middle of that as well. And then Buchan and Scott Smith.
The reason that I brought this one up, Duncan, is because it was pointed out from our very own Stephen Hay in chat that Scott actually started in last place and he's actually worked all his way up to 14th place right now and quite possibly going to get 12th place at the end of this.
Yeah, well spotted there, Stephen Hay, and thanks, Dave. I can't see that on the chat, so that's a good bit of info there. Scott tries to go up into the top of the corkscrew, biff, like that into the door. And he obviously managed to negotiate his way through the utter carnage at the start of this as well. So good bit of driving from Scott there as we pick back up with our two leaders, Jack Eyre, under pressure now from Sandy Mitchell. The pressure is coming thick and fast from Sandy Mitchell. But Sandy has bridged the gap, but catching is one thing, passing very much another.
No, it absolutely is. There's not a lot of laps left in this race, maybe 2 or 3 at a push. So he's got to really get a move on Sandy Mitchell if he wants to be in with a chance of winning this championship. Look at the gap though, he's dropped right back now to 9/10 of a second from our race leader Jack Eyre, so maybe had a little bit of a moment coming out of one of those last couple of corners, and that's given Jack Eyre a little bit of breathing space with a few minutes left in this race.
And look who's in third place, homing in a little bit far back I would imagine, but Stuart McFadden has got himself in no man's land, which for Stuart McFadden is absolutely brilliant. He's got no worries behind, he's got nothing to do in front, he's going to get a nice big handful of points, and we jump on board with the Pure Sims driver, number 53, as he comes up the Rahal straight towards turn 7, that little kink to the right there, and then turn 8 is the left hand part of the corkscrew there. That's turn 8, blind, turn 8A is there, and then you head down towards the rainy curve, down, hit the apex, it's way around the corner there. I'd have missed that, that's turn 9. In towards turn 10. The gap at the front is down to 7/10 of a second. It was up to 9/10 at the start of the lap. So Sandy Mitchell can bridge the gap pretty quickly, guys, but he can't get a pass done and completed on Jack Eyre. But this is perfect for Stuart McFadden. As far as championship goes, this is not what Sandy Mitchell wants to see in his rearview mirror, but it's exactly what McFadden wants to see ahead of him as we jump on board now with Mitchell down towards Andretti Hairpin. Andy, he's just too far back. Simple as that.
Yeah, he is. I think Sandy is a little bit quicker from the corkscrew on, I have to say. But Jack Eyre does have that MX-5 hooked up nicely around the first part of this lap. So it is giving Sandy Mitchell a little bit of a headache here to try and make his way through. And look at the timing on the clock at the top, 13 minutes 45. Not a lot of time left for him to make a move. However, Jack has run wide there. He's managed to keep the car facing the right way, a little bit of a opposite lock to keep it going. That has allowed Sandy Mitchell right back into contention here to go on and win this race. So, it's still all to play for in this one, that's for sure.
Now, I don't know if dirt on the tyres is a thing in iRacing, but it did look like Jack Air then turned into the next corner and the thing was a little bit lively on the back end. But this is opportunity knocks for Sandy Mitchell as they come up to the corkscrew. 14:20 on the timing. I think this could well be the last lap. As they come through the crest of the corkscrew, Mitchell knows that he's got to make a move. He's looking at the inside into Rainey, but no, Air covers that one off. And that could be the setup for turn 11 as we come in towards the downhill turn number 10 here over the apex curb a bit very quickly. It's looking like a manoeuvre into the last corner. I believe we will get another lap out of this as we turn in. Mitchell thinks he's going to have a nice wide run through the corner. And 10 seconds to go. We will cross the line before that comes out. The finish line is there, and we start it with 4 seconds to go on to the last lap of race number 2 in towards the Andretti hairpin. Covering the inside goes Jack Air. Mitchell goes wide. Can he get the cut back through the second heart of the corner? He puts the car up the inside. He's alongside now, but Jack Air is on the outside and he'll hold the inside line into turn 3. Mitchell needs to keep him tight there, but he can't do it. If Sandy could have kept him tight, it gives him an opportunity on the exit of 3 along to 4. We get a great aerial shot from the blimp here. Mitchell looking about the inside again. Air defends. We saw him make a mistake here last lap as he come through. He run wide to exit the corner. No such mistakes this time as they come down the dog leg towards turn 5. Again, a massive defensive manoeuvre from Jack Air. Mitchell tries to go around the outside. Look at that for a manoeuvre. Can he make that stick round the outside of Jack Air as they come up towards turn 6? Sandy Mitchell has gone round the outside of Jack Air. He's ahead. As they come through turn 6, look at that, Andy Alston. What a manoeuvre up to the Rahal Straight. And the corkscrew, it is done. What a manoeuvre.
Absolutely stunning stuff. I've never seen a move like that before around that corner, I have to say. Incredible stuff from Sandy Mitchell. But it's not all over yet as they head into the corkscrew. A couple of corners left in this one, and Jack Air, as it stands, is in the lead of this race.
He's just gone back round outside of Mitchell at the corkscrew. He's just repaid the move. McFadden is loving this because he's caught right back up. So there's one manoeuvre left. McFadden goes up the inside of Sandy Mitchell into turn 10. And that lets Jack Air off the hook for the race victory. In my eyes, last corner, last lap, Air comes through. Mitchell covers the inside. McFadden on the outside, unable to get past Sandy Mitchell. And that was a sensational last lap and a fabulous victory for Jack Air. Sandy Mitchell comes home in second place. And Stuart McFadden, well, that helps his championship. I believe that makes him champion before he even starts race 3. But we will wait on the graphics on screen coming up. But have you ever seen anything like that before? I haven't. 2 overtakes round the outside at 2 of the toughest corners you can get around the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca.
Absolutely outstanding stuff, and some great defensive driving from Jack Air in the first couple of corners of that last lap as well. Very, very good, clean stuff from the pair of them. Stunning move from Sandy Mitchell. I did wonder if he had enough to make it stick going into turn 6, but he did. Very tricky corner, that one, but great move back by Jack Air. Stunning racing and clean racing throughout from them all. And just a real credit to the quality of all 3 drivers, in fact, in that one. Some great racing.
Unbelievable stuff. Dave Christie, is there any chance we could get a Sim Dynamics replay of that move? The camera you chose, the aerial view from the blimp, sensational stuff. Round
I will certainly get that for you. You literally heard me shriek. I had to unmute myself. Right, let's see. I should be able to... Let's have a look here.
I did say that corner was banked, so that's
too late. Yeah, so I'll
look at that.
Have a look for that.
Brilliant stuff from Jack here to go around outside the big. I don't think Sandy would be expecting that, but this one here, the corner's banked there. Look at that. Sandy drives it in deep. He can take the high side and the high line, and because he's on that line, he can open up the steering wheel. He can get the revs up that little bit quicker. This was the definitive move here, though. Jack Air could have put his nose in there, and it could have been game over for the pair of them, and that would have let McFadden through for the victory. Not to be, though. And then I thought that was it done. And what does Jack Air do at the top of the corkscrew, Andy Alston? Round the outside twice. Brilliant stuff in that race.
Couldn't make it up, honestly. An absolutely terrific final lap. Great clean racing between the pair of them. And it's just... That's just a testament to the quality of the drivers that we've had here, and I think it's good. It's nice, clean racing. I did wonder with Jack here there into the sixth corner of that lap whether he would decide to try and stick it up alongside. But I think by backing out, that has actually allowed him to get the run along the straight and into the corkscrew to then get the move done on Sandy Mitchell. So good awareness from him, but some great driving from them all. Brilliant stuff.
Knocker Racing Circuit Virtual Driver of the Day. Please vote on the live chat. Or what about Commentator Scream of the Day? I think that goes to Dave Christie so far. That was...
that was honestly that was one of the most outrageous passes I've ever seen on a sim. No matter if it's iRacing, Assetto Corsa, whatever. That is just an absolute racer's move through and through. To go around the outside of that corner and to have the confidence in the car was just amazing. But then the fire back from Jack Hare was amazing. However, that for me completely is negated with the fact that a driver that we mentioned earlier, Scott Smith, all the way from the back of the pack, I'm pretty sure he finished like 11th or 12th place there. That is, it's difficult enough being up the front, guys, but when you've got to fight through that chaotic mid-pack as it is, that was something very, very special. He gets a massive kudos for me today. On that note, we're going to take a very, very short break, and we will be back with live coverage of race number 3. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, just in time for race number 3 here at Laguna Seca in the heart of Salinas County in California. Oh my goodness me, just had enough time to recover after that incredible action on race 2. But what a race we have got set up here for you. Big championship implications, but first we're going to hand you back to Duncan Vincent, Andy Elston, and bring you live coverage, race 3 of the SMRC iRacing Lockdown Cup, powered by Sim Dynamics. Guys, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dave Christie. It comes down to this last race for Stuart McFadden, and what does Stuart need to do? Well, if Sandy Mitchell wins the race, Stuart McFadden can finish anywhere down to 16th place. Simple as that. Ball's in his court. Tom Davis and Cameron Evans are the front row of the grid, with Jordan Gronkowski and Peter Butcher row 2. Row 3, Michael Weddle and the man Stuart McFadden, with row 4, Sandy Mitchell and Jack Hare. Row 5 is Igor Filipek and Vic Covey, with Cameron Ritchie in 11th and Scott Smith in 12th. And we are 30 seconds away from the feature race. So yes, as we said there, 16th or above for that man, car number 53. Championship very much in his hands from that man that we see just at the top of the screen. Sandy Mitchell, McFadden against Mitchell. We wait for the red lights to come on. Here we go. Tom Davies on pole. We've got a full complement of red lights, and away we go. And Cameron Evans again with a fabulous start there. And we saw this at the last event, and everybody bottles up in the mid-pack, and this is not what Stuart McFadden really needs. Down towards turn 1, McFadden currently in 3rd place. Cameron Evans is already gone. Trying to go around the outside of, is that Sandy Mitchell? It is Mitchell and McFadden together again, like they always have been. Jordan Gronkowski battling with Tom Davis as they come in towards turn 3, and thankfully everybody stays on the black stuff. And then we saw Cameron Evans put on a fabulous display at Oran Park in race number 3. Will we see the same from the young man here today? Sandy Mitchell, though, is ahead of Stu McFadden, and it looks like he's about to go ahead of Cameron Evans as they come down towards turn 5 for the first time. Yes, the scene of where we saw Mitchell pull off one of the most unbelievable moves when he went round the outside of Jack Hare in race number 2. The replay picks up the very lurid Aidan Wilson. In fact, Aidan not involved in that one this time. That was 0-2-4. It looked like Peter Butcher. And how did that last car spin, Andy Alston? I've got no idea.
Yes, but interesting one to say the least. It's been very, very tricky in the midfield and below. I have to say, lots of contact throughout. It's just been difficult. And then Cameron Evans, he's just lost it in the back end, coming out of the corkscrew there. That has been just... Oh, and he's hit the barrier as well, just to make it worse. He should really hit the brakes there, though. He's got to let the rest of the pack through before he can get back on track. Otherwise, he's maybe just got away with that. I don't know if he's maybe got away with that, actually. Very, very interesting one there. I have to say, it was a good start from Cameron Evans, but it was an even better start from that man in the lead right now, Sandy Mitchell. He made up 6 places in 5 corners. Some incredible stuff there, and he now leads this race from Stuart McFadden. But it's Scott Smith there in 8th as well. He's made up 4 places in the opening lap. He's had a very, very strong event overall here, I have to say.
Well, he's certainly, it would be the Dunlop Hard Charger Award if I had something like that, or whatever it is to make the most overtakes in a race meeting. Scotty just off the back of Jordan just now as we pick up with Rory Bryant, and somebody else goes round in a circle. That's Cameron Ritchie. A lot of good men spinning out here. I look like Cameron Evans just bounced that one off the bottom curb at the corkscrew, and round he went. Tom Davis, our pole sitter, currently in 4th place just now, with a lovely picture of his profile down at the bottom of the screen as well there. Tom's put a bit of effort into that checkered flag behind him. And Scott Smith trying to do a Sandy Mitchell and go around the outside of Jordan Gronkowski there. But Jordan, yeah, it's not his first rodeo. He just pushes Scott out towards the edge of the track and says, "No, sirree, Bob." The gap back at the front is 0.4 of a second between Mitchell and McFadden. Stuart McFadden, that's all he needs to do. Yes, Jack Hare is there as well. He's only about the same distance behind McFadden that McFadden is from Mitchell. But those guys, they've been in the championship hunt all the way through. Generally, the racing is clean. There sometimes there's a little bit of contact here and there. But what about that going into the corkscrew? I've got no idea what happened there. Side-to-side contact, and Aidan Wilson was one of the cars there. The other car, 14, exited stage right, Andy.
Yeah, I think it was the flames in that car for Aidan Wilson that's really just set the other car off into the tyre wall there. I mean, look at this. It just kind of bounces straight off him. Don't think he can really make a move there. There's not much Aidan can really do. He's got the inside line, and car number 14 just comes into contact and turns right when everyone else is going left. So no, not going to plan for them at all as we follow Jordan Gronkowski at the head of this pack here. Again, he's come into a bit of contact as well. I believe that's
Tom Davis.
Turn 1. Yeah, Tom Davis there saying thanks very much. I'll hold on to 4th place in this race. But yeah, it's all looking very lively behind him, I have to say.
Yeah, Michael Werrell, Jordan Gronkowski, Peter Butcher, Vic Covey in there as well. I've got to say, Aidan Wilson did nothing wrong at the top of the corkscrew there. He certainly didn't change direction in the car. The car never changed trajectory. Did I say that word right? I don't know. Doesn't matter. But look at this at the front. McFadden has taken a bid for the lead. He doesn't need to do this right now, but he wants to win the championship and win the race. He goes through in the inside of that tricky turn 6 and up the Rahal straight. Now, when it's going good for you, it's going good for you, and you feel like you're invincible. That is what Stuart McFadden is going through just now as Jack Eyre goes past Sandy Mitchell at the top of the corkscrew as well. Made that a little bit easier than the previous overtake he did on Sandy Mitchell there. But Stuart McFadden, guys, he is in the zone. And when I say you feel that you can do anything in a race car, you basically can. And he knows he's got the pace. He feels probably more comfortable being at the front. And away he goes through turn 10 in towards the last corner. Now chased hard by Jack Eyre, and Sandy Mitchell goes down to third place. Needs a couple of laps maybe to regroup. We're a third of the way through this race. There's a big gap behind them. You can see you do not want to be in that pack. That's one thing you do not want to be in. Tom Davis, Jordan Gronkowski, Butcher, Weddle, and everybody else battling it out for fourth place. We're in towards Andretti Hairpin, putting his car just in the middle of the road from Jack Eyre. And round you come. Now, Dave Christie, you are a man who knows about the VR headset. On a track that's up and down and hilly, is the VR headset an advantage to you, or can it make it a bit more tricky?
It's an absolute advantage, 100%. I think we touched on this last time. The spatial awareness it gives you is just incredible. So for a normal driver, we can switch to the cockpit view here just to give you an example. So if you're racing on a screen, this is your static view. This is what you see. But what you can do in VR is you actually find yourself tilting your head and lifting your head and rolling your head to get a better vantage point, because you can actually do that in the VR. So wherever your head is, that's where your viewpoint is. So instinctively you look into the corners. That's what the faster drivers do. You look to the apex of your next corner. So for here, your eyes are already down through the corkscrew, and you're already into this left-hander here, whereas on the screen you can see it's a very, very fixed view. You really have to sort of think about the corner a little bit longer than you would normally actually have to do in VR. So 100% it is a bit of an advantage.
As he comes through the last corner just now, it all looks a bit beyond me to tell the truth. Andy Alston, as we see, half a second in the favour of McFadden now over Mitchell. Jack Eyre has gone down to third place. So if you're Sandy Mitchell, what do you do? If you're Sandy Mitchell, Andy Alston, you have got to just go for it here, but you've got to keep it clean.
Yeah, you've got to go for it. He's got no other option. He's got nothing to lose, and he has to win the race. As we follow Jordan Gronkowski here, going as both cars make their way into the Andretti hairpin on the replay. Car number 17 in front of them as well. Let's see if Jordan can maybe make the stick. Tries to hang it round the outside and then thinks better of it, tucks it back inside. Stuff. Yeah, good defensive driving there from Scott. As we follow back into the leaders. Stuart McFadden now with a gap of 0.6 of a second from Sandy Mitchell. Jack Eyre in there as well, 9/10 behind. It's an interesting one from Stuart McFadden, because he could quite easily sit in third place and just coast it and bring it home because of the gap between third and fourth. But he's wanting to go out in style. He's wanting to go out and take the race win. So credit to him. But yeah, it's been some great action between the three of them here tonight.
Yeah, when it feels good and you're in the zone, though, you do, as I say, feel invincible. And that is Stuart McFadden just now as he goes through the top of the corkscrew. And then before you finish saying that sentence, he's at the bottom and he's heading towards the rainy curve. That was an impressive move by Scott Smith there. I think we need to say that. He's now lost a couple of positions. But over the top of turn 1 into turn 2, a good manoeuvre there. Jordan Gronkowski now ahead of Vic Covey. Scott Smith still in 8th place. This is a battle where cars are changing position a couple of times a lap, actually, as we look at these scoreboards. We are just ahead of them, Michael Weddle and Peter Butcher. Now look what happens here. Gronkowski just puts himself up alongside Vic Covey there, and Scott Smith was maybe just caught unawares of what was going on around him there. Jordan, a seasoned pro when it comes to racing cars. Scott, more of a bike man, to tell the truth, but turning his hand towards car racing now, and definitely finding his feet in the world of sim racing as the leaders now come in towards turn 3. Hello. Sandy Mitchell now all over the back of Stuart McFadden. Stuart McFadden with a little nervous giggle in the car, probably looking in the rearview mirror, thinking, oh dear. Thing is, McFadden doesn't need to tough out these positions. He was defensive in race number 1 as he went into turn 1. In this one, if Sandy Mitchell sends up the inside, McFadden can just let him go. He doesn't need to fight that hard. Through turn 5, up the short chute underneath the bridge. Turn 6, and we look behind Mitchell. What's happening to Jack here? He's dropping off the back a little bit. That's a bigger gap than we've seen. Now, if you're a driver and you look behind you and you see that kind of gap, you're quite comfortable to know that the guy is not going to be passing you straight away. So, what have we got left in the race, Andy Alston? About 5 minutes. It's getting down to crunch time.
Yeah, about 5 minutes here is before Rory Bryant. He's been one driver making moves up 14 places from where he started, and he's looking to try and get his way past Scott Smith here as they make their way into the corkscrew. Scott's got that one covered though. Rory looks to try and have a bit of a nibble back into the rainy curve. Oh, that's brave. Going round the outside. Not quite managed to make that one stick. And he's been a good race so far here from Rory Bryant.
5 minutes off the race to go this time when they cross the lap as we come back into the mid pack. That's Martin Buchan, car 35, it's a lovely tartan paint scheme on that car. Into the Andretti hairpin. McFadden again defensive. He is not wanting to give Sandy Mitchell this. Sandy looked at going underneath him through the second apex here, but did you see the quality of that? He bailed out with that manoeuvre, and Jack Ayre was catching Sandy Mitchell, and he had to bail out of that manoeuvre just so there was no contact. I like that. Very clean, very fast, very fair at the front. Mid-pack as well. 26 is Mark Cuthbert, and he is behind Sean Dobie. Just ahead of him, the lurid, I've got to say, rather ugly John Higgins car, but it seems to have gone into a sweetie machine or sweetie shop and come out looking a bit different. I'm pretty sure he's going to lose that drive to his father for the next season. Car number 5 here. Round he comes, makes a good manoeuvre, makes that stick, runs wide. Oh dear. Less said about that, the better, chaps. There's a wheel of that, but
I'm quite glad I switched to that camera point just as he did that there. That was almost planned, really.
Anyway, back to the top of the corkscrew. You can hear me smiling. 11 minutes of this race gone. I think Stuart McFadden is doing things he doesn't need to do now. Underneath him at Rainy Corner. No, he can't do it. Sandy Mitchell had a big, long look there. Stuart McFadden being very, very open with his entry line there. And Sandy Mitchell thought, I will just have a look here. As they come into 11, again, Mitchell, this is where there was contact in race number 1. McFadden will be aware of that. Looking in his mirror. But Andy Alston is getting a little bit squeaky bum moment, I've got to say, for Stuart McFadden. He doesn't need to be doing this right now.
He doesn't know. Just having a quick look at the timesheets, there's some 38 seconds between first and 26 seconds between first and 16th. So if he does have a moment, he's got a little bit of time and then some to get the car back on the road. But he's certainly put on a show. But I think the thing with these front 3 drivers here in this one is you've got to have that element of trust between your opponents as well. You've got to know that they'll give you racing room, and if you trust the drivers around you, then you'll throw the car round outside the way Sandy Mitchell did in this corner coming up here in the last race. If you don't have that level of trust with your drivers, then you're less likely to do that, and you'll maybe just throw up the inside into a hairpin and things like that. So it shows the respect between these 3 with a little over 3 and a bit minutes left in this race.
I would have sent it laps ago, and I'd have probably wiped everybody out. But I'm not the best, and I play in a controller. Sorry, I know that's seriously frowned upon in racing circles. Up towards the top of the corkscrew, McFadden positions his car where he wants to put it. Mitchell then has to decide what he's doing, and Jack Ayre is trying to second guess everybody as they come to the top there. Now McFadden again defends, this time into Rainy Corner, because he wasn't very good out of the corkscrew there. Through turn number 9 they go, down towards turn 10. McFadden coming under increasing pressure from Mitchell. I've got sweaty palms, guys. That's usually quite a good sign in the commentary box as they come down towards the last corner. 13 minutes off the allotted 15 are now done and in our book. We have a back marker further up the road. They will be getting blue flags, one would hope, from the race team here. But let's have a look at the laps comparison. Mitchell has been quicker over the last 3 or 4 laps. Quite a lot of laps, actually. But McFadden, again, just puts his car where Sandy Mitchell really wants to be. Sandy, try as he may, can't find a way through. And they're being very clean here, but this is hard racing at the WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway as we come in towards the infield cycle now. Through turn 3, underneath the Firestone Bridge, into turn 4, and Mitchell runs a bit wide there. Will that give a little bit of a breathing space to McFadden, because Ayre all over the back of Sandy Mitchell as they head towards turn 5.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. He's just dropped back a little bit now, as Sandy Mitchell. That will give Stuart McFadden a little bit of a respite and no chance of Sandy making a move round outside here in turn 5 this time round. Turn 6 is always a tricky one. It is partially blind into the apex. You see it at the last moment, and then it's a little dip in the road. You use that to hook the car in. Will Sandy make a move into the corkscrew this time round? Well, it'll be very, very interesting. It'll be brave from him to do so. I think he's a little bit too far back this time round as the brake lights come on. The car in front of Stuart McFadden, yeah, he's got that one covered. And Jack Hare as well, of course, waiting in the wings in third place.
Is this the last lap? Is it 30 seconds from home, or will we get one lap of this fabulous online eSports stuff from the SMRC with Sim Dynamics as we come through turn 10 in towards turn 11? 15 seconds. Stuart McFadden will be trying to go as slow as he can through the apex of this corner so they don't have to do another lap. But as we accelerate up towards it, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, we're going to have one more lap, or are we? Yes, we are. We will have one more lap off the WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway, and that's not what McFadden wants. He'll be absolutely cursing us round the outside. Comes Sandy Mitchell. He needs to try and hang it around here, but Jack Hare pokes his nose in the inside as he run down through turn 2 in towards the infield turn 3. That, Dave, I thought that was almost a checkered flag there, but this is the final lap. The race control message comes up on the bottom of our screen. We go through turn 4. There is a back marker ahead. I can't see that back marker coming into play. Famous last words, Andy Alston.
Yes, we've got the 3 of them here split by 7 seconds overall. It has been some incredible racing throughout in this feature race. Good defensive driving by Stuart McFadden into the Andretti hairpin, I have to say. He parts that car very, very nicely indeed on the apex. Sandy Mitchell here is going to try and line up though for one last move. Will he have a go into the corkscrew, I wonder? 3 and a bit tenths of a second between the pair of them. I think Stuart might just have this race win covered, but Sandy is not going to give up without a fight.
Blair McConaughey is the white car further up the road, who shouldn't be an issue as they come through the bottom of the corkscrew. They head towards Rainy Corner, Rainy Curve. Mitchell thought about the inside there, but it must surely be all about the last corner. Stuart McFadden only has to get through turn 10 here. He has to execute a bit of defensive driving into the last corner. He hugs the white line away, and there's no Mitchell. Mitchell tries to move round the outside. He gets a little tap in the back from Jack Hare. Is that going to be a launch pad as they come out from the last corner? There is your 2021 eSports Lockdown Cup champion. It's car 53. Stuart McFadden wins the championship and he wins the race. A fabulous, fabulous display of online sim driving from Stuart McFadden. If you're going to win, you win from the front. He clearly felt like he had the pace and he was invincible, and he has just shown everybody here the class of that young man. Sandy Mitchell comes home second in the championship, and here come the donuts and the collisions by the looks of things. Second in the championship for him, and Jack Hare third in the championship, third on the road, and 0.3 of a second, Andy, cover the top 3. What a fabulous, fabulous feature race.
Outstanding stuff. Great driving throughout from all 3 of them, and full credit to Stuart McFadden. He's had a terrific championship throughout. He's shown some real class along the way, and he's a worthy winner of the SMRC eSports Lockdown Cup, brought to you by Sim Dynamics.
Dave Christie, I think I require a small glass of water or something stronger after that.
Wow, guys,
Brilliant.
What a championship. You know, I can't believe the 4 weeks has just gone by so quickly. But I mean, I'm delighted for Stuart. Obviously, I know him quite well. He was one of the very first guys that I started doing iRacing with as part of Team Automake, and we used to race this car, the MX-5, every I believe it was every Thursday night or Tuesday night or something like that. Anyway, and yeah, I mean, you guys or Duncan, you were saying about him. All he needed to do was hold back and take that third place. That's not what Stuart does. Stuart is an out-and-out racer, both real life and in the sim as well. He won't settle for just sitting back. He'll be pushing that car as long as it needs to do. And an amazing performance, and I think that really does sum up a fantastic championship for him.
Well, remember, your Knockout Racing Circuit virtual driver of the day should be coming in. Try and tell us who you think we should be picking. We've got to try and do that on air just now as we look at the WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway with our Sim Dynamics logo beside the SMRC logos. Thank you very much, Sim Dynamics. Great help and great support all the way through our series. But a driver of the day, last time at Oran Park, I kind of set the ball rolling with my choice. I think this week, well, Andy Alston, driver of the day. What are you thinking, buddy?
I think Andy's abandoned us. That's what's happened there. It's,
That's the...
he probably has. He's probably nipped off actually to get some water and try and recover after that. But yeah, look, if you're on about for today, the driver of the day, I'm still tempted to go with Sandy Mitchell, just purely for that race 2 outrageous manoeuvre around the outside. I don't think we'll ever see anything like it. Rory Bryant, who has had a dismal season, having a very, very good day out here at Laguna Seca, getting a top 10 finish there. But for me, again, personally, and I might be massively biased, Scott Smith, another fantastic third race there. That second race, that charge through the pack, for me, that makes him my driver of the day. What about you, Dunk?
I think that Scott Smith was sensational there, but I think he's got enough no-kill hats that he doesn't need another one to play with. But yeah, Scott knows I love him, and it was cracking driving there. I never normally like to give a driver of the day tip to the race winner because I think they're getting a trophy anyway, but Stuart McFadden was special today. I said during the race, when you are in that zone and you're in that race car, you know what you can do. And if you think, look, these guys, I can get past them, I can lead from the front, I can win this, you do it. And that's what he did today. He's won the championship, he's won the races, and for me, he gets my tip for driver of the day. So it's down to Andy Alston, if he's still with us in this life.
I think he's actually run away. I haven't seen Andy. So guys, we might do a very quick welfare check on Andy Alston. Well, in fact, he's just left completely. So without further ado, then we'll get some interviews on the go to distract us while we wait for Andy Alston to pop back. So we'll build it up. We'll go and have a chat with as many people tonight as we possibly can. Let's bring in Tom Davis, because actually we haven't really spoken to him, and he's one of the former commentators. So good evening, Tom Davis.
Hello.
This is so strange, isn't it? Because obviously last time we spoke, you were actually doing comms with me. So how was the championship?
Oh, it was great fun. It was really great fun. You know, we came in as a team with the objective of learning about iRacing, because ultimately we are a team on Assetto Corsa, so GT3 is obviously quite different to Mazda's in terms of their handling and all that sort of stuff. So getting used to that. I think the race today showed it. You know, we managed to get 2 top 10s in race 2, and then that put me on pole. Not that I managed to make the most of it, but, you know, the general progression is pretty solid. Really enjoyed it, yeah.
Excellent stuff. So will you be signing up for future events from the SMRC?
We'll definitely have something from the team. I don't know if I'll be driving. I'm generally a team manager. Whenever we go to something new, I get a little bit of experience so that I actually understand what the drivers are complaining about, as opposed to just being in the dark. So whether I'll be driving or not, yet to see. But there should be a Unicorn and Griffin entry as such, yeah.
Excellent.
That's
well,
good to see.
We'll keep it brief tonight, Tom, just purely because we've got tons of drivers to get through, and I don't know Dunk is chomping at the bit to have a chat, so we'll catch up with you later, buddy.
Thank you very much. Can I give a quick shout out to the sponsors?
Of course you can.
Well, thank you to primarily Lunchtime Games, fantastic little indie game company from Scotland. They've got a big release coming out later this year, from what I've heard. I've seen a little bit of it too. It's quite exciting. So you can check them out on Instagram, Lunchtime Games. And thanks to Formation Chat, and also thanks a little bit to Red Bull, who've been beginning to get more involved with us. So thank you to all of those guys, and hopefully we'll be able to get a podium for them next time.
Well done, buddy.
What a great voice. What a great voice, Dave.
Exactly. And do you know what, right? As my day-to-day job as somebody talking about like market and stuff like that, I wish more drivers would be like that and thank their sponsors. So yeah, well done to Tom on that one. Right, let's have a look at who else we've got. Let's bring in Scott Smith, because you did say that he's got one knockhill beanie too many. So Scott, hello my friends.
Hello.
That was a bit of a charge in race 2.
Just try to make up lost ground again, David. It was fun. I enjoyed that. It was a cracking battle in race 2 with Martin Buchan. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
I don't know if you heard your good pal Dunk Vincent there, but I was basically going to give a driver of the day to you, and he says you've got too many knockhill beanies already.
Indeed, I have. So you can pick another and hand it out to someone else that's more deserving than I am.
It's not that you didn't deserve it, Scott. I think you did deserve it, and you do deserve it, but you've got enough of them, and you don't want another one. I know that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you picking me for driver of the day. Definitely, thank you guys. I don't want to say no to a gift.
You're not getting it though. It's fine. It's okay because we gave it to Stuart McFadden for winning the championship. But you were very much in the voting. You know, if we could give it to somebody that we love and that, but it's not all about love, is it? It's all about driving on track. Tell me what happened in race 1 of the start line. But it looked a little bit messy after a great qualifying session. It just went horribly wrong.
Yeah, race 1 off the grid, there was a couple of drivers ahead of me due to a bit of a slow start. I think one of them kind of lit up his back wheels, and at that point he started going 90 degrees, and I just slammed straight into the side of him. There's nothing I could have done, and then I think it was everyone that was behind us on that row pretty much piled into us. So,
yeah, it's a shame. A lot of cars didn't even get over the line before it went horribly wrong. But are we going to see you doing a bit more of this? Because I did say, I think during the race here, you're more of I see as more of a bike racer, but you're turning your hand to 4 wheels and you're actually finding a really good home in the sim racing.
Yes, I've been at this for a wee while, Dunk. It was actually our good Rory Butcher that got me into iRacing. Says it was a great training aid, so I kind of got set up with Rory Butcher to get into this. As it goes for real racing, the bike thing I think is going to stop. There has been a proposal put forward for me to go in and do the Scottish Legends, so we may well see me out on a real grid. Good
stuff. I hope that is. I hope that's a thing. And no, congratulations for your season, and congratulations for a good showing here. Unfortunately, a bit of bad luck, but a good showing from the WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca. Scott, well done, mate.
Thank you, guys. I'll just take this opportunity to say thank you to all yous for doing this, and thank you to the SMRC for putting it on. Hopefully don't leave it so long before they get another on. Don't wait on another lockdown. So it's been wonderful to be part of it, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scotty. We'll catch up with you later on. We're going to get Cameron Evans in now. Yep. And more before we speak to Cameron Evans, Andy Allison, are you okay? We were worried about you there. You disappeared.
It was just too much for me there, Duncan. I couldn't handle that, and my broadband said thanks very much, but we'll see you later. But I've managed to make it back, I have to say, because I was really keen to hear what a couple of the drivers had to say about that one. Some great driving throughout, and I think that's Cameron we've got here joining us. So Cameron, just talk us through the last couple of races here in the championship from your perspective.
They've been I've really enjoyed it, to be fair. After the first round at Oulton, where let's just not talk about how bad that went. It's been okay, actually. I really enjoyed it. Getting good results in the one in Japan and getting the results last week. And I had no pace coming into it. I know everyone says they don't, but I was stuck in the 40s in practice, and I just couldn't get anywhere near it. And then I saw the practice times from yesterday. I think Sandy had done like a 37.8, and I was like, okay, well, let's just sit at like the back and watch everyone take each other out. But I seemed to get like a really good lap in out of nowhere, and it put me P10, and it's just been a good race. I bottled it in the third race, going down the hill at Portugal. I looked at the replay and realised that the car was light, and I've just chucked it in and just lost the rear. But I think I'd had 7th, like not in the bag, but it was kind of, as long as nothing, if I didn't get disqualified, I think it would have been okay with the results that happened. So I'm really happy with how the season's went. I said I've only got iRacing at Christmas, so.
No, it's good to see after Oran Park, you kind of things started happening, because Andy put the commentator's curse at the start of Oulton Park, but for Oran Park on, it looked like the car just bounced off the bottom sausage curb, or not bounced off the curb, but the bottom of the corkscrew and went round. Am I right in saying that, or was there something?
Yeah, the car went. I watched the replay. The car went slightly light going over corkscrew, and then I think the rear right tire caught into the gravel, and I was like full throttle. The car was light in the rear. You just know what these MX-5s are like. They spin out when all the weight's at the front and there's nothing to save it. But okay, I think I was like 30th and I finished 15th or 16th in the end. So I still got good points compared to people who were around me. So,
listen, congratulations. Thanks very much for popping into the commentary box for a bit of a chat. We'll let you get on. We've got a big list of drivers. And we want to try and catch up with Sandy Mitchell now. So Dave will do a little bit of jiggery pokery, and Sandy Mitchell will be ushered in here with his minders, no doubt. Sandy, okay.
Hello.
I'm sitting down, and Andy and Dave are sitting down. Talk us through that move. My goodness, turn 5, round the outside.
Yeah.
Sensational, buddy.
Yeah, and then Jack did a sensational move on me
Yeah.
into the corkscrew, so it was wiped out straight away. But yeah, it was a great race. Race 2 and 3 especially. It was great racing with Stuart and Jack, and we left each other just enough room, and yeah, had some great battles. So it was really good fun. But yeah, I think I'd been looking for the cut back off of the few corners before turn 5, and I think Jack had realised that and sort of anticipated it for that turn. But so I saw that he kind of stopped it quite a lot just as we were getting to the apex. So I just decided to release the brake and just try and carry as much speed as possible around the outside. And then I just had the momentum on him coming up the hill. So yeah, it was a great move. And then yeah, like I say, it was cancelled out pretty quickly again at the corkscrew. I think on the sim, you have even more of a kind of blind spot in just when it's kind of dead alongside you. So I was kind of able to use that to the advantage at turn 5, and he used it to his advantage at the corkscrew. So yeah, some really good racing and good fun. So thanks to everyone for organising it, because it's been a great way to spend the Wednesday evenings while we're all at home.
Hasn't it just? It was a great manoeuvre to watch. But okay, back to race number 1, turn 11, last corner. A little bit of contact with Stuart McFadden there. Was it just one of these? Was it a racing deal? No malice involved in that?
No, I mean, I felt like I was a little bit stronger than him on the brakes into there throughout race 1. And then he just had a wee bit of a gap on me, so I couldn't kind of send one up the inside into that corner. So I was aiming to just try and get a good run out, but I think he was also aiming to get a good run out so that I couldn't overtake him into the first turn. So I think he just kind of braked a bit earlier than normal to try and get a good exit so that he wasn't vulnerable into turn 1, and it just caught me out a little bit. So I tried to stay to the right as much as possible and just tagged him round, and then just kind of waited until he got back going again so that I didn't gain the position to try and give it back to him. And then he got unlucky with the back marker, I think, a few corners later. So yeah, just one of those things, and I tried to kind of give the place back to be as fair as possible. And yeah, other than that, it was great racing.
It did look like you tried to give him that place back, but it's been a joy to watch you, and congratulations on a fabulous championship run and a good second place in the championship. We're going to try and get through as many people as we can, Sandy, so we're going to let you just say a quick bye-bye, and then we'll get our champion in for a couple of words before we head off.
Yeah, thanks very much, everyone, and yeah, really enjoyed it, so hopefully we'll see you again at some point on iRacing. Cheers,
mate. You've been a pleasure to watch, and you've certainly given my heart a few moments, so
Good stuff. Good stuff. Cheers, guys.
So into the commentary box now. Well, let's have the drum roll. If there's a virtual drum roll, can we have it happening? Because, ladies and gentlemen, he only needed to finish 16th or above in this race if Sandy Mitchell won. But he obviously felt like he could do it from the front, and he did. Your 2021 SMRC eSports Lockdown Champion, Stuart McFadden. Well done, buddy. Well done.
Thank you very much, Dunk. I honestly didn't believe at the start of the season I'd be sitting here as champion. I think it was the last entry. So yeah, I'm honestly so pleased. That pressure in that last race was so intense because I just wanted to win it. I wasn't even thinking about the championship. I was just thinking about keeping Sandy behind. So yeah, I've definitely got a sweat on.
You drove so well though. Andy Alston and myself both saying, he doesn't need to be doing this. He could finish well down in the field and be okay with it. But you obviously felt like you had, when you're in a car and you just feel like you can do it, and you pushed your way to the front, and then you drove so well to defend with that pressure for the championship. You didn't need to do that, but is it just, you're a racer, you want to go out with a bit of style?
And that's not how I'm kind of wired. If there's a win and it makes sense to go for it, and I'll go for it. I knew the move I was pulling off was safe, and that Sandy would not kind of fight too much against it, but he wouldn't cut across my nose, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I pulled the move on him and I just tried to soak up the pressure.
What about turn 11 in race number 1? We just had Sandy's take on that little bit of contact, which spun you into a half spin. What was your take on that last corner kind of fracas?
Obviously, when I got hit, I was surprised, but mistakes happen. I'm pretty sure that's the first mistake Sandy's made all season. So even he's not the type of person to do anything silly like that anyway. But mistakes happen, and I just kind of brushed it off and moved on to the next race.
You certainly did. Andy Alston, this man will be having a few. Are you old enough to drive? I think you'll be having a few beers.
Yeah, just I'm 19.
Yes, absolutely sure. It was we were talking throughout the broadcast as well. Just your approach throughout the season. You know, you've always been at the sharp end, and you've been very, very consistent as well. How important do you feel it's been to just being able to grind out results lap after lap after lap when you're maybe seeing the cars around you kind of come into contact and things maybe not go their way?
So obviously, because I'm quite young, I think I'm quite experienced in terms of sim racing because I've been doing it since I was 15. With all the BSRTC races, I think it's 30 rounds in a year, and you've got 60 car grids. So basically, what I've learned from that is to just bide your time. Opportunities will come, and if they don't, then they don't. Like, there's nothing you can do about that, and just just do as best you can, and capitalise on everything around you. Is basically what I try and do. And obviously, you have to be up the sharp end. That sometimes helps. But in terms of reverse grid races, just drive the best you can, and just take what you can get from incidents.
You've impressed me, seriously impressed me this weekend. I thought you had a good weekend at Oran Park, but this weekend, to win a championship is mega. To win it from the front and to put on the display you did, Stuart, congratulations. From all of us in the commentary box, a massive congratulations. Our 2021 champion. I hope you have a good night celebrating, bud.
Oh, I start work at 11 o'clock tomorrow, so.
Well, yeah, don't go too heavy, but congratulations. Will we see you back for anything else that the SMRC are going to be doing online?
Possibly, yes, if I can get the time off work. I'm moving to a new store, a brand new store that we've opened up. So possibly, depending on how busy it is. But I'd love to be back.
Well, we hope to see you back. David Christie, Andy Alston, Dave, I mean, sensational stuff, and a worthy champion here.
Yeah, absolutely. Really proud of him. As I say, vested interest in Stu, known him for many years now, and yeah, that is just a champion's performance there all through the season. But look, everyone that's taken part, we've had, a 35 car grid throughout the 4 weeks, and some amazing battles all the way through the pack, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me along, Dave Christie and Andy Alston. It has been a pleasure to share a virtual commentary box with you. Let's hope we can do it again. I will let you guys sign off. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Excellent stuff, Andy. Yeah, it's just been an amazing 4 weeks. What's your final thoughts on things?
No, it's just been fantastic to be involved in it, and it's been a great way to bring the SMRC community together and been able to invite some great talent here along as well that we've witnessed through the 4 races, 4 events that we've had. It's been great stuff throughout. The quality of some of the moves that we've seen throughout as well have been fantastic. The pace has been great too. The camaraderie between the drivers as well has been really strong, and I think that's important as well, given the difficult times that we're all living through at the moment. This has been a fantastic championship, and I've been delighted to be a part of it.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you guys on board. Thank you so much to Duncan Vincent, to Andy Alston for their expert commentary guiding you through the past 4 weeks of what has been the SMRC eSports Lockdown Cup powered by SD Sim Dynamics. Thank you so much to Sim Dynamics, to Simon for helping us out and for providing all of the prizes behind the scenes. Of course, there are prizes up for grabs. First, second and third place all getting prize vouchers for Sim Dynamics. I believe it is £25, £20 and £15. I'll just confirm that with you. Yeah, so first prize, Stuart McFadden gets £25 Sim Dynamics voucher and an official SMRC trophy. That's what it's all about, really. £20 Sim Dynamics voucher for second place. Of course, that is Sandy Mitchell, and then Jack Eyre in third place gets a £15 Sim Dynamics voucher and that coveted SMRC trophy. But yes, Duncan,
from Andy Alston. Well, I said,
yes, driver of the day.
Driver of the day. You get the final say in this, Andy Alston.
Sorry, so who's the two?
Well, I said Stuart McFadden, and Dave Christie highlighted Scott Smith with his charge to the field. So it's down to you for driver of the day.
I have to say, I would have given it to Scott Smith. I don't know if he would. Might already have a not kill cap.
It's good enough for us. We'll give it to Scott Smith.
That's exactly what
No,
Duncan said.
No, Scott was very, very impressive tonight. I felt very strong driving throughout, and the way he made his way through the pack as well was some great stuff. Very well deserved.
I feel
Yeah,
bad now because I said he wasn't getting it. So Scott
I
was
have to,
getting this
yeah,
Sammy.
I have to agree with you. He's made a very, very convincing argument, has done convincing. So I'm going to change mines to Stu McFadden. So I think, yeah, we're all agreed. Driver of the day is Stu McFadden for that dominant performance. But guys, as I said, thank you so much for being the voices of the SMRC eSports Lockdown Cup, powered by Sim Dynamics. Have a great day. Thank you so much to the audience at home. Hit like, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Keep in touch with the SMRC. Have an eye on the website for more of the esports action from the SMRC. Until then, though, guys, take it easy, and we'll see you next time.